In 2014, 42,000 individuals took their own life. Suicide is the 10th largest cause of death in the United States. Homicide is 17th. More people died from suicide in 2014 than died from motor vehicle accidents. 90% of those individuals who committed suicide, had a diagnosable mental disorder. My name is Angela Campbell, and I believe that we need to do something about this. From the research I have found, only 41% of adults in the U.S. with a mental health condition received treatment last year. While there are many reasons that individuals do not receive treatment, one of the major barriers to receiving treatment is associated with mental health stigmas. I want to talk about these stigmas, how they impact healthcare, and the role you play in changing these stigmas. But first, I want to talk to you about why you should care about mental health. Mental health is the biggest economic burden in the world. In 2010, we spent $2.5 trillion on mental health issues. In the U.S., we spend approximately $444 billion a year. The bulk of this cost comes from disability payments and loss of productivity. We know that early intervention can prevent further deterioration of health. We should also care about mental health because individuals who are unable to receive treatment are institutionalized in homeless shelters or in jails. 26% of the individuals who are homeless live with a serious mental health condition. And 24% of individuals who are in state prisons have a recent history of a mental health issue. Treatment or avoidance of treatment may also lead to actions of crime and addiction. And finally, 1 in 4 individuals experience mental illness in their lifetime. Chances are you know someone who is suffering in silence. Now I want to talk about the stigmas and the impact they have on the individual and what we can do to break those stigmas. Let's first review some of the most common stigmas associated with mental illness. First, there is a belief that mental illness is not really an illness. When you minimize the illness, you minimize the individual. Historical accounts of mental illness date back to 400 BC. Biological proof of mental illness exists, and we can now document changes in brain activity and the shape of the brain. Mental health also impacts physical health, as individuals with mental health issues die on average 23 years earlier than individuals without these conditions. The second stigma is the belief that individuals with mental illness are dangerous. We see this played out daily on our news broadcasts and in our TV dramas. In reality, individuals with mental health issues are more likely to be the victim of a crime rather than the perpetrator. The belief that individuals with mental illness have control over the illness is another stigma. People believe that they are making it up, that they are somehow responsible for the illness, that they can miraculously recover from the illness, or that they just need to be happy. Unfortunately, none of this is true. Individuals do need assistance and treatment with these types of illnesses. The final stigma is a belief that individuals who have mental illness cannot be helped. When my grandfather was 11 years old, he was told that his mother was very ill and she soon passed away. In reality, she was placed in a mental institution due to schizophrenia, and she spent the remainder of her life in that institution. My grandfather was never able to speak with his mother again. We now know that mental health issues can be treated, and that people with mental health issues can be functioning members of society. I now want to talk about the impacts that stigmas have on individuals with mental illness. The first impact is it does impact their ability to work and their work productivity. Individuals are fearful of disclosing that they have the illness, and they have difficulty in explaining gaps in their employment. An employer may accept that an individual missed 9 months of work due to cancer treatment, but may not be as willing to accept that an individual missed 9 months of work due to mental health treatment. If an individual does have to take time off from work, they are often ridiculed and made fun of, again, not claiming that it's a real illness. And one study found that 47% of adults would not be willing to work closely with somebody who suffered from depression. These stigmas also impact an individual's social interactions. A recent study found that 30% of the general population would not be willing to socialize with an individual who suffered from depression. These individuals are excluded from social and educational opportunities, and family and friends may turn their backs on individuals with mental illness. These stigmas also lead to prejudice and discrimination. We have heard of ageism, sexism, racism, and homophobia, but there is currently no word to describe prejudice against mental illness. There is a general fear and mistrust associated with individuals who have mental conditions, and violence is often perpetrated against individuals living with mental illness. Most importantly, these stigmas prevent individuals from seeking the treatment that they need. They are fearful of admitting that they have the illness, and they fear that if they seek treatment, their secret will be disclosed. They fear that they cannot recover. They have heard this so many times that they tend to internalize that belief and believe in themselves that they cannot recover. They also believe that they are personally responsible for the illness, again, perpetrated by the stigmas in society. And they also tend to believe that they are not worthy of care. They devalue their personal selves, and therefore they do not seek the treatment that they need. Finally, I want to talk about how we can shift our behaviors to help break up some of these stigmas. Most importantly, we can educate ourselves. Learn as much as you can about mental illness. Why mental illness exists, what are some of the treatments, and how you can help somebody coping with a mental illness. Participate in educational opportunities. In Colorado, we have the National Alliance for Mental Illness and also the Mental Health First Aid of Colorado, which provides classes and educational opportunities for individuals suffering with mental illness and also family and friends who have individuals with a mental condition. We can demand change. Stop believing the negative stereotypes associated with mental illness. Push back against media's negative portrayal of individuals with mental conditions. And foster equality between mental illness and physical illness. Both illnesses are true illnesses, both require treatment, and neither one can the individual recover from on their own. Connect with individuals living with mental health conditions. Show empathy and compassion. Be conscious of your language. There are certain words that are no longer acceptable. However, crazy, psycho, and lunatic are still often used in our daily language. Participate in social events such as This Is My Brave. This is a theatrical production that allows individuals to share essays, personal stories, and personal experiences about mental illness. It is a great opportunity to connect with individuals suffering from mental illness and to learn more about their conditions. In summary, nearly 60% of individuals suffering from a mental condition did not seek treatment last year. The lack of treatment has both social and economic impacts on our society. One of the main reasons individuals do not seek treatment is because of the stigmas associated with mental health. These misconceptions about mental illness are a mark of disgrace and sets individuals suffering from mental illness apart from other people. It creates shame, secrecy, and isolation. Unlike other conditions, individuals with mental illness are personally blamed for their condition. Stigmas also lead to prejudice and discrimination. Learn about mental illness and the effects it has on individuals. Talk openly about mental illness, and most importantly, see the person, not the illness. I want to leave you with these words. It is not that I am scared to learn why I am empty inside. Just hold my hand to show some concern if I live or die. Be the one who cares if someone lives or dies. Thank you.